Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
February 27, 2021, the Coaching as a Crime edition. And we begin with that lead story from the Wall Street Journal. Indeed, all today's stories come from the Wall Street Journal. Former U.S. Olympics gymnastic coach John Geddert's coaching came to be seen as a crime. He committed suicide this week after a criminal indictment was brought against him. He, by his own description, was a hard-charging and hard-driving gymnastics coach, priding himself on high standards and intensity, pointing to success as proof of his work. However, in 24 felony charges filed against him this week, the Michigan Attorney General said that Geddert's brand of coaching was a form of forced child labor. Prosecutors said he physically harmed young athletes through his training methods and terrorized them into performing through injury for his own profit. 2 hours later, he committed suicide. If anyone who's been a junior high or I guess middle school or high school athlete or younger than that, you have probably been coached by someone who's extraordinarily tough on you. I don't know if you've ever been hit, but I certainly was in my putative or formative years in athletics. So this could be a huge sea change. And if I'm a coach, I'm going to study this very carefully and worry about it a lot. Next up, also from the Wall Street Journal, Mingy Sung reporting in the Risk and Compliance Journal, BakerHughes has disclosed that the SEC is conducting investigation into the company's role in projects affected by U.S. sanctions. It was notified in December that the SEC is conducting a formal investigation relating to the company's books and records and internal controls concerning the sales of products and services in projects affected by U.S. economic sanctions. BakerHughes said it is cooperating with the investigation and has launched its own internal controls. No word on the specifics of the investigation or where or what projects or countries might be involved. Next up, in the continuing GameStop saga, Robinhood is in talks with FINRA regarding its options trading practices and outages. Robinhood is in talks to pay a fine to settle investigations to its options trading practices and outages the stock trading app suffered in March 2020. Now, this is not the GameStop imbroglio, but earlier investigations, or rather alleged violations. The SEC, state regulatory authorities, and FINRA are examining Robinhood's conduct with these matters, including how Robinhood displays cash and buying power to customers and its options trading approval process. 2 Robinhood subsidiaries are currently negotiating with FINRA over the outages, and the probes could cost upwards of $25 million. So more trouble for Robinhood as they seem to be stumbling over themselves. And finally, in one of the more interesting articles, Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak has proposed letting companies develop innovation zones with their own cities and governments to boost economies, specifically allowing for a city built on blockchain. So this is a very interesting welcome mat thrown out by a Democratic governor to developers of blockchain. And one of the first big beneficiaries would be a Nevada-based blockchain company. So this could be an interesting laboratory of experiment. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.